The New York Times has obtained video surveillance of a Rikers Island inmate who died as a result of not getting the medical attention he needed when he had diabetes. Now, this is 45-year-old Carlos Mercado, and he died a few years ago as a result of authorities completely ignoring his calls for help. Take a quick look.
Around 7 p.m., surveillance video shows Mr. Mercado walking into his holding cell with a large plastic bag. The surveillance video doesn't record sound. Nearly 4 hours later, a guard opens the cell door. Mr. Mercado collapses. He lies there for 3 minutes.
Now, I should note that when they arrested him, he was selling heroin, okay? They took his insulin away from him prior to putting him in that holding cell. He died within 15 hours of being put in custody. And while he was suffering and begging for help, authorities kept telling him, nah, you're faking it. If anything, you're suffering from withdrawals from the drug. But no, he is diabetic or was diabetic and he needed the help and they refused to give him the help. Now, it's really interesting that they handled it that way because 5 years prior to this occurring, New York actually had to pay out a $17.5 million settlement to the family of Jose Vargas. Vargas was denied insulin as well. It was a very similar case. And as a result, he suffered from the symptoms of his diabetes and he had irreversible brain damage. And so now he is disabled, his family has to take care of him, and the authorities learned nothing from that. $17.5 million settlement for the exact same thing that happened to Carlos Mercado. Doesn't matter. They haven't changed.
So now let's take a look at it from both perspectives as we normally do. Now, what we don't see from that the cops see all the time is a lot of times guys do fake, right? And a lot of times guys do come in with certain drugs that are illegal drugs, and they pretend that they're legal drugs. So they deal with that all the time, right? So I get the cops' frustration in that regard. But if someone's got insulin, they're not likely to be faking it, right? You don't normally carry around insulin. And this is something that's happened there before, and somebody had severe consequences from it, right? So you have to have a standard procedure for when somebody says, I'm dying, okay? That's fair, isn't it? I mean, even if you're a cop, I mean, you just saw that guy die right in front of your face, right? So isn't it fair to say, hey, you know what? It doesn't mean you believe him. It doesn't mean that you come in with flowers, right? Because I know that sometimes, a lot of times maybe, people lie about it, right? So how about we go, okay, the guy is saying that, let's do the procedure. Let's bring in a doctor. Oh, that's a hassle. It's a hassle, right? To have a doctor on staff to make sure people don't die. But I'd rather have you take that hassle than have people die all the time when they have diabetes and you didn't bother checking and they collapsed and you just stepped over them as they died right there on the floor in front of you.
So we have constitutional protections against cruel and unusual punishment, even when we're inmates. And unfortunately, authorities don't seem to care too much about that because they look at inmates, regardless of what their crime is, as throwaways. So they looked at Mercado as a throwaway. He was selling heroin, he's a bad guy, we've put him in custody, and we don't care whether or not he's claiming that he's ill or that he needs medical attention. Yeah, it'll take a little bit of effort to take him to the infirmary or wherever you need to take him to make sure that he isn't lying, to make sure that he's actually being honest and that he's going to get the medical attention that he needs. But that means that you need to actually believe that he's a human being that deserves help. And unfortunately, I think that a lot of these correctional officers don't look at them as human beings. They look at them as throwaways. They don't care whether they live or die. They look at them as a pain in the ass, which is why they just ignored him and ignored people previously who had similar issues. That's the part that drives me crazy, right? People will see stories like this and they'll say, well, he was an inmate. He was breaking the law. That's what happens when you break the law. He was selling heroin. I get it. It's a bad thing. He shouldn't have been selling heroin. He's still a person, okay?
Look, so this is not racial. You saw in the video, the two cops that step over him are also black, right? And in this case, he's a minority, right? But that's why their lives matter, right? In the case of Black Lives Matter, yes, black people get disproportionately singled out, right? And that might have been part of the system that brought him in. But the part of that phrase that's important in this case is lives matter, right? So he's a minority as well. But when the authorities bring these guys in, they think, does your life matter as much as mine? Of course not, right? If my grandfather is saying I'm dying, am I going to step over him? No, of course not. His life matters to me. But the minute you are seen as a bad guy, a drug dealer, whatever it is, right? By the way, I just got to keep reminding you all the time, alcohol was prohibited. There was a constitutional amendment saying how dangerous alcohol was, a beer was. So the whole Coors family would have been considered drug dealers, right? And so then you could bring in, now they're respected members of the community and they're top donors, and so we bow down to them, right? But in the past, I guess you would have just stepped over their dead bodies because they didn't matter. Who cares, right? Oh, they're just a criminal. That's all they are. Yeah, their lives matter too.
So depressing.
So one small thing. You notice, I think one of the excuses, or at least reasons, cops would be like, we don't want to acknowledge someone's pain or potential suffering because they're probably faking. And I would think the reason for their not wanting to answer that faking is they may be trying to ambush you, maybe they're going to spit in your face, they're going to assault you in some kind of way. So don't go for that because they're out to get you, right? So after this guy falls out of the cell onto the floor for 3 minutes, is he not a threat anymore? I mean, he's lying on the middle of the floor. If he's faking, he's ready to jump up and attack you, right? Grab you by the leg and bring you down. None of that happens, but they're not worried about that because they weren't worried about him being any kind of threat. They weren't worried about him faking. They just didn't give a shit. So, like, usually you would think, oh, well, the cops have to protect themselves. They weren't protecting themselves here if he was faking. They just don't care.
They don't care because he was laying there for 3 minutes before they picked him up. 3 minutes. That's a long time to allow someone to just lay there on the floor after they've collapsed. And they just kind of chalked it up to, oh, well, he's withdrawing from, the heroin. First of all, I don't know if there was any evidence that he was actually shooting up the heroin. I know that he was selling it, allegedly selling it. But regardless of what you think he's doing, you have to have a process in place to make sure that he is or isn't lying, right? Take him to the doctor. Make sure that he's getting the medical attention that he needs. And if he was selling heroin, then he's going to be brought to justice through the criminal justice system. But unfortunately, a lot of these inmates never get the chance because of the brutality that they face behind bars.